Hey, this is Pastor Jay Lee, and you're listening to the Daily Sabbath Podcast. Jonah chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. But to Jonah, this seemed very wrong, and he became angry. He prayed to the Lord, "Isn't this what I said, Lord, when I was still at home? That is what I tried to forestall by fleeing to Tarshish. I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, a God who relents from sending calamity. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live." The book of Jonah is one of the most iconic stories in the Bible, yet it is very rarely understood. Jonah's story revolves around a mystery. Why is Jonah running away from God's call? Is he afraid? After all, Nineveh was an Assyrian city. Now, the Assyrians had once been Israel's oppressor. They were known for being particularly cruel and savage in their tortures of the conquered. And so, it would be understandable if Jonah feared for his life. Or maybe, does he feel inadequate? Perhaps like Moses, he felt unqualified to serve as a prophet for God. And maybe that imposter syndrome was getting the best of him. But the plot twist is that it isn't any of those reasons. Now, Jonah does end up going and preaching God's judgment over the Ninevites. And surprisingly, they repent. They mourn their sin as a nation in hopes that maybe God might relent. And he does. Now, you would expect Jonah to be on his knees in worship at this turn of events. But the book ends with Jonah being angry with God. "See, I knew this would happen," he complains to God. "I knew you would show them compassion." See, it wasn't fear or inadequacy. Jonah didn't want to go because he hated the Ninevites. Now, whether you want to call that racism or nationalism or bad blood, the truth is Jonah didn't want to give God a chance to show them mercy because he knew that's what God does. Jonah's story is a contrast between the heart of God and the heart of man. See, we have a tendency to think that we love people more than God does, that somehow we care more than he does. But world events are full of evidence to the contrary. We hate and kill and war. We slander and exploit and oppress. And that cycle of human tragedy plays over and over without end. We'll take mercy for us, but not for them. But God, he offers compassion and restoration for all through his son Jesus. God sent Jonah to warn Nineveh, not to condemn it. And you don't usually bother to warn someone unless you are hoping that they will escape from danger. And so your reflection for today is this: where are the places that hate is living in your heart? Pray for God's heart towards them to begin forming your own. For more Daily Sabbath content, please be sure to follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also follow us on our Instagram account, Daily Sabbath.